My name is Douglas Deaton, and I'm a resident of Collin County. I retired from the Plano Police Department after 26 years of full-time law enforcement service. There seems to be a general misunderstanding that we're talking about a plan to build an Islamic Sharia-friendly community. The Epic neighborhood already exists in Plano. It's been there for nearly 12 years, with 74 residential properties, a massive mosque, schools, a medical clinic, and multiple businesses. It also has an office of an Islamic financing institution called the UIF Corporation. The UIF Corporation is not a bank. It's a Michigan-based corporation whose publicly stated purpose is to, quote, engage in financial transactions that are Sharia compliant, end quote. Those are their words, not mine. The local government officials south of here have known for years that only Muslims can purchase homes inside that neighborhood. You have to be a member of their mosque to live there. The first house built in that neighborhood was built right next to the Plano Police Academy. It's a huge structure with two separate front doors. The rear of the property is just a few feet from a large outdoor warning siren. The house has a large second-story platform overlooking the restricted access parking lot where the police department stored specialized vehicles such as bomb trucks, bomb disposal equipment, and the SWAT team's armored vehicle. I am a court-recognized expert in SWAT team tactics and procedures. That house has all the hallmarks of a fortress and a command post. The rear of the house looks a lot like an observation post and a shooting platform. Why would somebody choose to build a house so close to a giant warning siren and a police training site? Why would someone build a huge platform overlooking all those specialized police emergency vehicles? The first owner of that house is a leader in the Epic neighborhood, and he is also the co-founder of the Yaqeen Institute for Islamic Research. And I urge everyone to visit their website and read what it has to say about instituting Sharia law. Local government decision makers have failed to ask hard questions for fear of negative publicity and being labeled as bigots. I'm not here to spread innuendo or to make unfounded accusations. I'm asking everyone to simply look at the evidence and the confirmed facts that are already in existence.
The world watched in stunned silence as an invisible hand slapped the face of Emmanuel Macron. We wish him a fast recovery. Emmanuel Macron cast himself as the new torchbearer of the Palestinian liberation movement. But a far louder slap came with the publication of the French government's report on the infiltration of the Muslim Brotherhood in France. The report showed that the Muslim Brotherhood is the gravest threat facing France, Belgium, Germany, Austria, Britain, and the entire Western world, including Australia, Canada, and the US. The danger lies not only in its fanatical ideology, one that seeks to suppress all other faiths and cultures and impose Sharia law upon all humanity, but also in its cunning. Its end game is identical to the one of ISIS and Al-Qaeda, but it means defer. It conceals its intentions in velvet gloves. The authors of the French report are unequivocal. The Muslim Brotherhood does not seek dialogue with the state. It seeks to bypass it, weaken it, and ultimately replace it. Its strategy is simple: infiltrate Muslim communities, build alternative education institutions, establish unelected religious leadership, penetrate local government, unions, schools, cultural NGOs, and finally portray the state as a moral bankrupt offering a so-called pure and moral alternative. As Jamal Murad, a senior Brotherhood figure in Austria, openly declared, we do not engage in social work unless there is a clear political objective behind it. At such a critical moment, we need more than ever leadership with moral clarity and courage. In recent years, we are seeing such leaders emerging in Europe, in Spain with our friends at Vox, in friends, with our friends from the Rassemblement National, the Netherlands, Poland, many of them present here today, leaders of parties and groups who understand the danger we are facing. Viktor Orban is a prominent example of such leader. The Hungarian government is paving the way for the rest of Europe with leadership that is willing to confront Islamic fanaticism and woke ideological extremism threatening the fabric of free society.
Pakistan, Afghanistan, Somalia, these places. And they're receiving these benefits purely because, for one, their women aren't allowed to work. Their women are allowed to have multiple children. They are 100% supposed to be home to cherish and nurture their children. Their husbands are allowed to have multiple wives, and with those multiple wives having multiple children, meaning they're getting multiple thousands of dollars per month. And if you think about it, it makes total sense why the Americans that are getting the pocket change, who are not having kids, and even if they're having kids, they got like 2-3 kids, and then their 2-3 kids are disabled, right? And then they're the ones making all the noise because they're getting pocket change when these people from the Islamic countries are getting thousands and thousands of dollars, and they're in a household with 3 other women that are filing for these benefits as head of the household. So in the one house, there are 4 wives getting like 4 or 5 grand a pop because they have like 4 or 5 kids a pop, right? And their husbands are just going out to these meetings trying to convert more people. But at the end of the day, they're getting like $15,000-$20,000 a month for the one household. And who knows how many bank accounts they have. No wonder when I see these people going out on vacation, they're just so comfortable. And it's like irritating, but at the end of the day, because a lot of these people came here, right? They came here seeking better, but then they came here to live the same way and the same rules, live by the same rules that made the first place.
Yeah. You know, it's amazing how folks are grabbing their phones and hitting record and saying, I've had enough. I've noticed so much. Waking up. Venezuelan illegals in Chicago getting their expenses paid. $15,000 in food stamps to illegals. $5,000 in cash. 6 months free rent. Priority on Section 8 housing list. Head on over to Ireland. There's an Irish woman that actually confronted refugees and asked them questions.
From Afghanistan.
Afghanistan.
This guy's from Afghanistan, right?
And why is it only all men that has come and no families with you?
Why is it that all men that's coming? How come you don't have your families?
But it's so difficult to bring a family with that way we are came here. So it's
Well, you would, if you were fleeing a war, would you bring your family with you?
He said, we left because we're fleeing a war. She said, well, if you're fleeing a war, wouldn't you have brought your wife and children with you?
And whatever possessions you have.
with the women and children is so difficult.
Well, why would you flee war for your safety if your safety is in danger and leave your children there?
Sorry, I told you we didn't have a time. So
Why would you flee a war if you leave your children there? And he says, sorry, I don't have the time. See, now he doesn't want to talk. Actually got up a Turning Point USA chapter president, and he spoke out publicly about what's going on there.
Noah Mullins, Grand Rapids. Council, I have the privilege of serving as the Turning Point USA chapter president at Grand Valley State University in Allendale, Michigan, and I have traveled home tonight to speak with you because of how disturbed I am by recent events in this city. On September 8th, 2025, leaders of this city made their allegiance clear. Osama Sablani is a terrorist sympathizer, full stop. I speak on behalf of Americans everywhere when I say that renaming the corner of Warren Avenue and Chase to honor this individual stands against everything this great country represents. Americans do not stand by silently when Hamas and Hezbollah terrorists slaughter innocent men, women, and children. Neither does Mr. Sablani. But instead of denouncing these terrorist organizations like Americans should, he describes Hamas as freedom fighters and describes the former leader of Hezbollah as a hero. I was born in this city, and I no longer recognize my beloved Dearborn. On September 9th, Mayor Hammoud decided to add insult to injury and rebuke a Dearborn resident who brought to light this very issue. Mayor, know that your rebuke of me will fail to make me yield, and that you have revealed your true nature to all of us. As if these two events weren't enough, the city has also decided to not enforce their own noise ordinances by allowing the Islamic call to prayer from local mosques at times as early as 5:30 a.m. Men and women across America are waking up to the state of our city, and all eyes are on Dearborn. I'm a 22-year-old man, but I am willing to give all of myself, and even my life, to the defense of my land, my people, my Lord, and my future wife and children. My future wife and children deserve to live in a safe and prosperous Metro Detroit like I did growing up. If our region is to continue down the path of Dearborn and Hamtramck, what will become of us?
So very interesting because they named the streets after terrorist sympathizers. They're only going to get more and more into the face of the people. Very interesting. This young lady posted on social media, the path of Islam is always the same. Well, I'm going to read this to you first. She didn't say this, so I'm going to tell you what I read here. Establish a mosque. First, they come in, establish a mosque. They create an enclave. They grow the population. They claim victimhood, resist host authorities and customs. They exploit lawfare. They institute sharia law. They secede. They cut themselves away from everyone, and they take control. According to this report, Afghanistan was once a Buddhist nation. Pakistan was once Hindu. Lebanon was Christian. You see a pattern forming today? They're all Islamic nations. If we continue on this path, Europe will be next to fall, then America. They've used this method for 1,400 years, according to many sources.
I don't know how this isn't being blasted everywhere between creators and the news, but everyone needs to share this. Opening up the southern border and allowing it to go unchecked for years and millions of people coming in that weren't vetted had to be the biggest act of treason in American history, and I'm about to tell you why. Because Al-Qaeda is in this country right now. The National Counterterrorism Center just put out a memo about this to all law enforcement. Over 1,000 highly trained operatives from Al-Qaeda have gotten into this country via the southern border. They have come from training camps all throughout the Middle East, and they are confirmed to be planning a massive multi-city attack. They are also uniformed to be disguised as law enforcement, first responders, and medical employees. These individuals want to obliterate Western civilization, and they can do it because we cannot find them because of our previous open border. We have no idea who they are, but it is confirmed that they are here and planning these attacks. So if you are someone that lives in a major city or work around a major hub, you need to stay off your phone in public, be vigilant, especially around hospitals, police cars, etc. You need to be aware of your surroundings, make sure that your law enforcement is up to date on this information, and be aware of any confirmed or theorized sleeper cells. This is a very, very, very real threat. None of this has been exaggerated. And be aware that the goal of these attacks is mass casualty. Again, I do not say this lightly. I have no idea why nowhere is covering it on the news or on social media. It's literally nowhere.
So, let me show you something here. Philadelphia is being taken over. Do you guys know that the city now has 82 mosques? 3 new mosques are being built per year. Thousands of American Muslim converts are praying. They're praying in Philadelphia. Islam is the fastest growing religion in America. And most said that it would never happen. Why isn't it the other way around? Why can't we have and see the opposite happening? That these people coming into the country would say, you know what? I want to become part of this nation. I want to assimilate. I want to go to a church and learn about the Bible. Thousands of American Muslim converts are praying in Philadelphia. That's what you're looking at on your screen. And I've mentioned it before, we have to stay in prayer, look for ways to, if we run into them in stores or whatever, somehow, some way, maybe there's a possibility, share Christ with them if we can. But I tell you what, things are getting real dicey, and we're not supposed to live in fear. I've had many folks, I've been around the world, folks, and I've been around.
People would get here as immigrants and immediately join a violent street protest. And you start to wonder, like, maybe we were actually invaded. Maybe our ruling class imported an army and pretended that they were migrants looking for a better life. And maybe we're about to find out what that means. This is really scary. They don't know how many people live here, and they don't know who they are. Of course, they have biometrics they could find out, but they haven't. Why is that? So if all of a sudden these migrants are participating in street protests where they're throwing bricks through the windows of passing cars, picking up orange cones and throwing them at minivans, you could see this getting completely out of control. And it's a reminder of something that is very often true, which is civil wars become race wars. It was true in Latin America. It was true in El Salvador. It was true across Latin America. That could happen here. Somebody needs to get this under control before.
To be another wake-up call for the United States. Not only the United States, I mean, people around the world are noticing, like, how much money are we giving these people, illegals, to live in our country? Well, we knew that they were putting up in hotels, the new ones, and they were giving them all kinds of money and this and that. You know, did we realize exactly what was playing out? Because now we're really paying attention. See? It's almost like, doesn't matter what the Democrats say, doesn't matter how many people attack them and say we need to reopen the government. It's almost as if it needs to be this way to wake us up. Just my 2 cents. So a receipt showed up. An illegal migrant from Venezuela left her receipt at the grocery store, so the cashier took a photo. The DEBT food stamp balance, food stamps, $13,401. The cash balance on that was $4,498.85. Yet millions of Americans can't afford groceries, gas, and rent. Food stamps by ethnicity, if you're looking at your screen: Afghanistan, 45.6%, Somali, 42.4%, Iraqi, 34.8%, and Haitian, 23.3%. So let's look at the mainstream media covering this guy.
Without the government support, I cannot stay maybe a month or 2 months.
Pima County Chairman Rex Scott told News for Tucson he's deeply concerned about the impact on local refugees.
Oh, Bakr Rajab. They're calling him a refugee. Well, that could be true. I mean, refugees, they brought him over and said, hey, you know, I'm depending on these SNAP benefits to move forward. I don't know. Makes you really wonder what's playing out before our very eyes. SNAP now burns $145 billion a year. This is from Amy Mack. This is $7.8 billion every single month. Billion with a B. Recipients spend twice what the average working American spends on groceries because they aren't spending their money. They are spending yours. Remember that. You guys go to work, or you've got your retirement, and they're taxing it. And they take that money, and they say, thank you very much. We're going to give this to the people that don't work in the country, and they're from other places, and we're just going to hand it to them so they can kick back and relax. This isn't helping the poor. This is rewarding dependency and subsidizing foreign population who arrived to take but not build. Look at this report, this video here.
Hello, everyone. This is Fahan Organization's Halal Food Shelf. Our food shelf.
A halal food shelf. HALAL. A sharia food system funded by the U.S. taxpayer. Ready?
We started with full. It was so full that you will see the pictures from before, and this is the after. As we all know, the government shutdown has a lot of effects. The food stamp is being shut down, so we are in need of food so we can serve our community. Whoever is in need, if you can donate, if you can even canned food, everything is appreciated. You can contact us with any information. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Waxaa kusoo dhawaataan Fahan Organization Food Shelf. Food Shelf keeni, masha Allah, wuu buuxay, zaa'id ayaan u buuxin.
So, this is rewarding dependency and subsidizing foreign population who arrive to take, not build. 43 million people are on food stamps. 80% of SNAP users are also on Medicaid. 61% get 2 or more additional welfare programs. 53.5% of immigrants are on at least one welfare program. Nearly 45% of Afghans in the U.S. are receiving free food from you. And now, incredibly, we have Somali migrants in America angrily demanding that their halal food pantry needs to be restocked. Not food, halal food. A sharia food system. Halal is not cultural cuisine. People think halal is ancient. It isn't. The global halal industry was engineered in the 70s and 80s after the 1979 Iranian Revolution, when Iran and Saudi Arabia, competing to export political Islam, partnered with Western multinationals like Nestle to create a certification empire that pushes Sharia norms into non-Muslim economies by stealth. Now that same system sits inside our welfare state enforced with your money. And spare me the claim that illegals aren't on SNAP. Remove illegal alien households, mixed status loopholes, and fraud, and the cost would collapse. 70% of this system exists only because the foreign population is bankrolled. If all benefits were cut off, they would leave. Listen to this.
42 million people losing their SNAP benefits come November 1st. And then when I look at the numbers of the amount of people and where they're from, I'm going to say this is a much needed process, bruh. Because you're telling me of the 42 million people, only like 30% of that 42 million are actually Americans? And I mean 30% of the 42 million are actually Americans who were born here, who are disabled, who are veterans, who are actually people who literally and actually need this assistance. Because if I'm looking at this report that says 51% of the total number of people that are receiving these SNAP benefits are purely because of their religious beliefs, meaning these people are Muslims or from the Islamic religion.
Inflation is destroying your